there we go. We're recording. So, Mr. Alec, can I call you by your government name, Alec Bledsoe? Or do you have like a handle that you like to go by?
No, actually, the guys at the shop, I don't think they've called me by my first name in like 6 months. They call me Big Dog. So
Big, Big Dog. I don't know.
I
When
don't.
did they just start calling you Big Dog all the time, or
Yeah, literally. Well,
did they watch you pee one time and then they call you that?
they wouldn't call me that if they watched me pee. But I would say, so I have this one boy that works for me. We call him Fuzz. Actually, everyone's got a nickname. His real name's Jacob. He loves when we call him Jacob.
Gotcha.
And anyways, so his name's Fuzz, and he's like pretty comical. And
Long hair dude that's always ripping on
yes,
the shit. Okay,
yes,
yeah. I
that's
watch him on
him.
the videos.
That's him. And he just come up with Big Dog one day. I don't know what it was,
Where's he
but
from? He has a pretty heavy accent. He Big Dog.
yeah, he's from around here. I mean, he just came. He was a random one that just come off the street, knew a whole lot of nothing.
Wow.
Really hard worker though. The kid, he's only 20 years old, and dude, he is. There's not a lot of 20-year-olds like him, so glad to have him, even though he's a goofball.
It's hard to find good
So
people. So let me
yeah.
let me ask you, before we get all into the minutia of the whole LS, LT, and all that
hmm
stuff, how did you even get into this? What was the origin story of the Big Dog?
So this is. I mean, it's a long story behind it. I would say I've been in cars my whole life. So my dad had older cars. My uncles had older cars growing up. They're like big in like Pontiacs and Buicks and just older stuff. They were like kind of off the wall. They weren't like a typical small block or big block Chevy guy. They were just like the odd brand stuff, and um, which I was into it all. So by the time I got my license, I was working minimum wage for since I was 15 until 17 is when you get your license in Maryland at the time. So I saved, money up, not much, and I bought my first car, and it was a '99 Trans Am.
Hmm.
Well, I wasn't really stuck on LS at the time. I wanted something cool, like I was looking at just everything. You know what I'm saying? So the LS, it just kind of fell into my lap because it was a good deal of a car. Trans Am, they're okay. It wasn't like my first choice of buying something,
Bunch of
but
guys right now are like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, I like the real, I like the real WS6. Like,
Yes.
nice. They're nice, but like I didn't have WS6 money, so I bought a piece of shit that had 165,000 miles on it. That was a non WS6 for like $5,000,
Okay.
and so I started modding it, headers, whatever. I was still in high school, and then I put a cam in it, a set of heads, then I put nitrous on it. I hid that from my parents when I was in high school, actually. Oh, dude, that's a fucking that was crazy. So, anyways, and the car. Let me backtrack a little bit. So I put headers on it, no tune or nothing. So I started calling people locally around here to tune it. Well, 16 at the time or 17, whatever it was. And um, no one called me back. So my uncle's like, why don't you just buy the software yourself and tune it? And he had a buddy that kind of knew HP tuners. And that's what I did, man. Like I literally broke the bank. It was like $650. At the time I was, everyone's broke when they're
Get that
17.
big cable that comes
Yeah.
with it, that
Yeah,
big.
yeah, it was the MPVI one. And so I kind of started dabbling in myself. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. None. And then my cousin bought a 99 Camaro SS, and he bought it with like a built motor in it, and it was a 408, and he wanted to get like 10s. So I kind of just dabbled back and forth between both mine and his at the track. He wound up getting like 1060s on motor, and this is back in like 2013. So I'm 28 right now.
Oh
I'm not
gosh, you're
even.
young.
Yeah,
Holy shit,
yeah,
you're young. Good for
yeah.
you. My
So,
goodness.
um, in 2012, 2013 is when like I was just tuning, mine his car, and he went like 1060s, which is pretty good back then on motor, and one of them things, you know. And this is before like CTSVs were even going fucking mid tens with a
Right.
supercharger on them, like. So, anyways, you know, one thing led to another. I had a full-time job, you know. Fast forward a little bit. So I probably did that for 2 or 3 years, just minding his car, and like then you know wound up being a buddy's car. You know, you meet people in the car community, so
Right.
you know, just whatever. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing still. So then my neighbor had fast forward to like I was 19 or 20 years old. My neighbor had a Copo, and I actually didn't know him at all, and he was like all the way up the street. And long story short, we met up, and I started dabbling with Holly. And I'm like, still don't know what the fuck I'm doing, you know. And yeah, I could make stuff run. Like I had 2 cars in the tens, but it doesn't mean I knew what I was doing.
Right.
And you know, then we tuned his, and tuned his, I should say. He actually don't have a real Copo; it's a replica he built, so it didn't even have like a factory tune in it. Like I kind of had to throw something in it, and he wound up going like mid nines or something. And then you know he had people, and it just snowballed. And I was a full time. I worked at a body shop full time, and I actually did a lot of Tesla work. At the time, I was like 21, 20, 21, probably right in that, you know, vicinity. And that's before people even knew what Tesla was. Honestly,
Right.
there's like one of two body shops in Maryland that did Tesla work. We were aluminum certified because they're all aluminum, and that's what I did. I worked in the Tesla department at that body shop, and it you know, it just really turned into, you know, on the side. It just I was tuning every day after work, renting someone's dyno on the side. A buddy of mine, you know, I lived 20 minutes from his shop, and he didn't tune in house LS stuff, but every once in a while he get an LS car in there, and I would have to tune it. So at this time, I'm getting pretty decent at tuning. You know, I'm starting to know, you know, kind of what I'm doing, and the LT start rolling out. You know, C7Zs started becoming a thing, and no one knew what the fuck they were doing when they came out because of LT direct injection. So,
They still don't.
right, right. So, the guys I worked for, there were two brothers that owned a body shop, and I've known them since like childhood, and they've had race cars their whole life, like fast shit too, like outlaw 10.5 cars that go like bottom fours in the eighth. And I've always been
Jeez. Okay.
to the racetrack with them. Um, shit, since I've been 16, 17, they always let me tag along, and just I was a bitch boy. Like I didn't, you know, I set up the canopy and shit. You know, I didn't have anything to do with tuning with them. They hired people. You know, they have money, and they hired people, outside people, to come and help them tune. Anyways, I remember sitting them down and said, "Hey, I'm going to start my own business." And
Just
one
like
was,
that, you just went, I want to start a tuning business.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like that.
Well, I thought about it, and you know, uh, my dad owns a ceramic tile company, so like I talked to, you know, my mom did all my you know, stuff for my dad growing up, and she didn't have she had a job, but it was the books behind the scenes kind of thing, you
Right.
know. So I talked to my parents about it, and they were like, "Yeah, it's tough, it's tough, it's tough." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." You know, you think you know everything. You're 20 years old,
Right.
and so I jump into it, and you know, so at the time I was tuning very heavy on the side, and I told them, you know, told you guys I'm gonna quit and start my own thing. And I actually asked if I could work there still twice a week, because I had a customer at the time. I guess I don't know if I was tuning on the side. I guess you can call him a customer. And he had a shop like an hour from my house, and he's like, "Man, you know." He actually, I'll give him one thing. He really uh, talked me into starting my own company. He had his own tree and concrete company, and he successful with it. He had money, and you know, he's like, "I'll let you, you know, get in my shop." And it was only like a 2 bay shop. It was a piece of shit. And but I had to like, dude, I had to spend a bunch of money fixing the shop up. I spent like 15 grand putting electric, like just updating garage doors, blah blah blah. But it was like it wasn't nothing nice. It was like a house garage. Like It didn't even have a parking lot. I had to fucking put millings down, dude. It was grass. So, and I'll give him, like, a lot of credit because he let me have that shop a year for no rent.
Whoa.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but I did put a lot of money in this building.
Right. You made it
And
better.
I made it better for him. It was never mine. And, like,
Correct.
I put way more money in it than I thought I would have. And I had a lot of money saved. I was about to buy a house at the time, and I wanted to buy a house. I wound up not doing that, And so I was like, I want to dump it into my company. So, at this time, fast forward a little bit, I quit my job completely. I get in this building and I'm working around the clock. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just starting out, and it's busy. It's just by myself, and then, like, a couple months go by, I hire my first guy, pay him under the table. Just didn't have a pot to piss in, and thank God I was still living at home. Thank God, and I couldn't afford a house and do what I did because
Right.
you go to the bottom of the barrel pretty much, and I'll
So
fast.
what was in my sorry to interrupt, but what was in your opinion the breaking point where you said, okay, this thing is a legit business. I can probably start, getting an apartment, all that stuff. Was it when LT stuff started coming around? Was there a specific customer that really took you in and said, look, I want to, what was the breaking point that
I
got you
would
to the
probably
next
say
level?
it was the customer that let me get in his building. But the problem is, so I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. So 6 months goes by, and he is huge in no prep. Like he liked no prep, and, like, I fucking hate no prep. Hate it.
Thank God.
So
See, guys, that's why I wanted to have him on. I think we're pretty
yeah,
much get
yeah.
along with a lot of the stuff. But go ahead. Sorry.
So, anyways, he had yeah. So he's like all about, like, I want to be seen. I want to be on TV. So, anyways, long story short, he was on Street Outlaws.
Oh, look at that.
So I flew to Memphis twice on, like, the JJ the Boss one.
Oh no, the JJ the
Yeah,
boss
yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a
Was
fucking
he
shit
more
show.
streeter than you? You're street, but JJ's more streeter.
Oh, dude, that's a fucking total whole nother conversation.
Gotcha.
Shit show there. So flew out to Memphis a couple times. Fast forward to 6 months, and he's really, I felt like, was taking advantage of me. Yeah, he let me use his place for a year straight, but man, I didn't charge him to tune because we had an agreement, actually, like a written up agreement too, like, that we both signed and said, this is what this is going to be. This is, and I thought I was getting taken advantage of, and he was the guy that I really thank him for letting me do that building thing for a year. But at the same time, I gave him a lot too. I put money in his building. I tuned his car for nothing for a year. Like, I dropped everything I did and helped him out. And we started these airport events actually in Berkeley Springs. And keep this in mind, like, this is before, like, airport events were not a thing. Like, there was no such thing. We were, like, literally the OGs of this.
Okay.
And I don't know, someone might have had something before us, but I'm telling you, like, then they all started popping off after, like, we did a couple. Like, they were packed, dude. We had to shut the gate down at this local little airport from people even getting in
Was
because
it
it
no
was,
prep or was it like
yeah,
half mile
yeah,
stuff?
it was no prep shit. So,
Okay,
like,
got it.
but at the time, dude, like, it was great for business, and I got a lot of customers from that. People didn't know who I was, and I got a lot of customers from it, and I don't regret it at all. It's hard work just even throwing them events. Well, he was part of it, and JJ winded up coming to. It was in West Virginia. It was right over the line, West Virginia from Maryland, and he wound up coming, and they filmed at that airport. It was wild, like, and I'm not a big TV. I can't stand fucking TV. I don't like attention. Honestly, the YouTube thing, I don't even know my fucking login for YouTube. Like, I don't. I like Steve and Carson do it, and
Do
social
you
media.
own it? But do you own it?
Yeah, I do own it.
Get your
Yeah,
login. I love
yeah,
you. Get your login.
yeah.
Get
I
your
have my
login.
login, but I don't really. You
Gotcha.
know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm not. I'm just being. You know.
Gotcha.
So, anyways, so it's like Carson clocking out right now.
There you go.
But
No more
anyways.
under the table stuff. Legit
No,
stuff.
no, no, it's legit. So fast forward, and I had the boy working for me, and I said, you know what? I was to my wits end with, with this guy, and I said, you know, I want to get out of this because like I'm just like owned by him. I felt like,
Right.
and I'm like, man, I just can't stand the situation I was in, and I work like a freaking slave. He always had something to say. He's kind of really starting to get involved with really a business partnership, and it was never supposed to be that.
Yep.
It was always supposed to be, my business, and he really like I don't know even how to explain it, man. He just like really was starting to try to get into my stuff. And I'm like, and I'm pretty tame, like as in like I'm smart when to tell someone how it is and not because I feel like I was owned by him, so like I just bit my freaking tongue. You know what I'm saying? And just because I didn't want to stir anything up. He's the type that would like take the keys and like lock me out of my shop. Like,
Then you're fucked, like
yeah,
for forever, right?
right. And trying to explain that to a customer or something like, yeah, I can't work your car today because shit's fucking locked.
It's locked in his
Yeah,
building. Shit.
yeah. Um, so the building I'm in now, I knew this actually going back closer to home. I'm in Baltimore. I grew up right outside Baltimore in Linthicum, right next to the BWI airport. So 15 minutes from where I am now. And this building was sitting empty, but I knew who owned it. It was a guy that owns a diesel performance shop. He moved to a bigger and better place. And this is like a two-part building, so you can like rent one side out and leave the other space empty, or rent both sides out separately.
Mhm.
Well, one space was sitting empty, and I hit him up and I said, "Hey," it was him and his mom. They owned the building, and I said, "Hey, I really need to get out of the situation I'm in." Explain to them everything, and she's like, um, I sat down in person with them. She's like, um, what can you afford? I'm like, not much. I was like, I know this is a long shot because this place is really nice compared to what I had. And I had a Dynajet in here already too.
Because of the diesel
So
business, right?
but he started getting in CNC machines and manufacturing stuff, and he didn't give a shit about a dyno, so he left it in this building.
Interesting.
And I'm like,
Interesting how
it
that
was,
goes, huh?
yeah,
like you start manufacturing
yeah,
stuff and you're like, fuck that dyno.
yeah. So it was like turnkey, and the office was set up like it was way nicer than what I had. And I'm like, she's like, "What can you afford?" I'm like, "Well, I pay $1,000 a month now," and I just started paying him rent. It was only $1,000 a month, but it was a shithole place. It was worth only that. So she's like, "I would really like 3,500 a month for it." I'm like, I can't afford that. I couldn't at the time. I'm like, I didn't have a pot to piss in. She's like, "What can you afford?" I was like, 2,500 would be stretching it. And she's like, okay. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. I know what situation you're in, Craig. What her son, he started from the bottom too, and I want to help you out. She didn't make me do a security deposit. It was on a
Oh, that's
handshake.
so awesome.
I
Wow.
mean, man, it couldn't have been a better situation. So
Right.
I snuck out. I got, you know, my, close friends, my parents together, family, my cousins. We all went up to my shop one. I said, I want to, sneak out of here without even telling him
Oh, yeah, because you
because
still had all your shit at the other shop.
yeah,
Gotcha.
and I didn't even tell him what I was doing because I'm like, it's going to be ugly. Like I
Right.
could just sniff it out.
Right. Like, I'm leaving, dude. And if I tell you I'm leaving, he's going to probably lock you out, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, give you
And
bullshit.
my dad was like, he's like, I would tell him if I were you. I'm like, I ain't telling him. So he pulled me. He came up to the shop like that week, the week of, and then he's like, "Is something wrong? What's going on?" He must have seen it on my face. I'm like, "No, everything's good." He's like, "All right, well, I'm going camping at MIR this weekend, with the dirt bikes because he rode dirt bikes." And I'm like sitting there thinking, "Fucking, this is perfect."
Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like
Right.
see ya. So, anyways, it was World Cup weekend too. So, which was the first weekend in November. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So Saturday I rented a Penske, the biggest Penske box truck I could have, and we had like 6 truck and trailers there, dude, and we emptied that place in like 6 hours
Oh, wow.
completely. Like it wasn't much. There was 2 lifts in there that I bought. Everything that I took was
You bought.
I bought.
Right.
So I think I took like a battery charger and something else that was minor, like Jackson, something stupid that was his that he brought in there, and like he had a condition fit about it. I'm like, I didn't. We had 20 people loading shit up, so like I didn't mean to steal that. I guess if you want to call that, I was like, whatever, I
Right.
can give it back or give you money. So, anyways, he's like, I'm gonna sue you, blah blah blah, and then it all let go. Nothing ever happened out of the whole deal. And I started here, and fast forward, to now, but I had it was me and this guy Don working for me at the time, and that was it. And then I hired this guy Kyle, and we were all under, they were under the table still, and I couldn't afford much. And keep in mind, like I'm 22 years old, so like I didn't have nothing to fall back on. Like the best thing I had was like I lived at home, I had no bills. Like I drove
Right.
a TDI Jetta, I didn't have shit. I sold my Trans Am to get money, and it just, I didn't know how I was going to fill this place. It was like,
Right.
I don't know, 4,000 square foot on my side, and
It's pretty crazy to see the growth because I worked for some shops here and there, and you're impressed by every bay being full with cars, under cars, and all this
mhm,
stuff. So, at what point, like, what are you known as in terms of the tuning world? That maybe not by your enemies or frenemies, you know how that goes. But
mhm.
are you known as an LT specialist? Are you known as an LS or kind of anything late
I don't
model?
even
That's
know.
no,
I
like
don't
you.
know. I mean,
What do you
you
tune
know,
the most?
I tune. So what I like tuning the most, and what I do tune the most, is
Right.
LT4s.
LT what?
LT4. So like
Yep.
anything in like the C7 Z06, Z 6th Gen ZL1s, and the latest model, the CTSV. They're all LT4 supercharged with a 1.7 blower.
Gotcha.
And the Blackwing that just come out that I seen you were talking about that. That's actually still a 1.7 blower. It's still a
Wow.
LT4. Yep.
Why I wonder why they didn't do like a 2650 on that. Is it because it's just too stupid to do that? Like does Chevy go,
I,
now that's just stupid?
I don't know because they just come out with this Escalade with a 2650 on it. They just, I don't know. Chevy's a bunch of idiots, in my opinion. So,
So
but
when you started tuning the LT4 stuff, what is it that attracted you to that platform? What was it that you go and you sit down on the computer and you go, it makes fucking sense. I love it. This is great. What was it about that platform that made you go, this is what I want to fuck with and I enjoy this platform?
honestly, yes, I own a GM performance shop, I guess, but really, I mean, I'm not favored LS. And a lot of people might get mad that I say like,
Yeah.
but like, man, I like the Coyote stuff, and I like big block going fast. Like, I'm all over, like anything like Holly or Fuel Tech, like, I'll tune whatever. I'll tune 2Js, I'll tune big block, small block Fords. Small block Fords, in my opinion, probably run better than an LS, honestly. Like, push
Oh,
rod,
oh,
yeah.
holy shit.
I mean, they're pretty close. I mean, LS has some nice shit. I don't know. I can't decide, but small block Ford shit runs really well.
Guys with Mountain Dews and straw hats right now are rolling over going,
Oh,
what the
dude, no
fuck?
doubt,
Jesus
no doubt.
Christ.
And
Fuck
I'm
this guy.
talking. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about no junkyard 302 bullshit compared to a 5.3.
Right,
I'm
right,
talking $30,000 motors.
right.
That make 1,500 plus with a F1A 94 on it.
Mhm.
So solid roller, big compression. Like I like race cars, so like that's what I mean by that. So like there's some badass LS stuff out there, and there's really badass small block Ford stuff. I would say they're neck to neck, but I wouldn't say I'm Chevy specific. Yes, late model GM. Will only if someone called me and said, "Hey, will you tune a GT 500?" No, I will not. You know why? Because I'm not the best at it. Call Lund for that
Wow.
because you know HP tuners is different. Like I said, Fuel Tech Holly, that's all the same tables all the time. Like HP tuner,
Correct.
like it's just so many tables, and it takes you so long to get used. So like, yeah, I started on the Chevy stuff. I kept going with it. So, through Gen 3, Gen 4, now Gen 5, you know, it's just what we do. And, I went out and bought a brand new, going back, to being broke. And over a course of 4 more years, here I am. I got 6 employees that work for me. I went out and bought a 2020 ZL1, brand new. And I
Damn.
wanted, I wanted to R&D it, and
Badass.
yeah, so everything's legit now. Everything's, I
Right.
pay my taxes. I pay, payroll tax. I pay. It's a nightmare.
Do you
But
ever look back at it and go, wow, the shit that I've accomplished in 4 years? Because you're not even in your 30s yet. And a lot of people would be a little envious of very fast success from a young guy who seemingly doesn't come from an engineering background. You're not like a
mhm,
heavy math guy. You're just mostly a hands-on dude. Do you ever get subtle kind of like, I don't want to say hate. I get hate because I talk a lot of shit.
mhm,
But you probably get people being like, he's too young. He can't know enough because
mhm,
he's too green. He hasn't busted his ass, doing the shit we've done to get
mhm.
to this point.
So, I'm sure some. I don't think many people think that because no one knows how old I am. If you looked at me, you probably think I'm 35 plus or something. I don't know. I look
I'd
old
say
as fuck.
30s, but
Yeah,
not
whatever. But like, I look old. Like, if you went back when I was 21, I was probably 30, 40 pounds lighter, and like, it's the stress that builds on you. So
Yep.
like, man, I just bought my building last year. So like,
That
I
building.
went, yeah, I'm in. So
Wow.
it's almost 8,000 square foot for the whole thing. We have the whole thing. I got two dynos. I got my dyno jet. I got the hub dyno. The hub dyno is the Pro 6000, so you can put whatever car on that thing and launch it off the trans brake.
Wow.
And it's the best of the best. I got a plasma table. We got a whole fabrication section. We just got more equipment for I got a Bridgeport late. I mean, we got equipment for day. I mean, I got 7 lifts. It's a operation now. So the stress gets to you, and honestly, man, no, I don't really think I get hate from it. I think I get hate from being the new kid on the block and coming up so quick. I don't think, these other shops know how young we are. Um, actually, I should say because let me tell you, the guys that work for me, uh, they're all younger than me. So
I
with
noticed
that,
that the kid that has the SN, and then Fuzz, those guys are
hmm
definitely early 20s, no
hmm
later than 25. But
hmm
when they talk, you could tell that they know some shit. You know what I mean?
so
Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Basically, when you hear a 21 to 25-year-old talk nowadays, you expect just stupidity to come out of their mouth.
hmm
While these guys are goofy, just messing around, they know some shit. I'm sure they listen to your direction as to how a car should be put together. That I want it to be clean, this and that, and they actually go out of their way and they explain it well. And I go, boy, these guys are different because if you come to Florida, a 21-year-old is straight retarded compared
hmm
to the guys you guys got up there.
So I agree. I mean, it's not even just 21-year-olds. You can talk to a freaking 40-year-old and they're idiots. So, but yeah. So all my guys are really young, and I might get some grief from that. The people that might watch this video, like, there's no way they can know this much. So let me tell you how I got the guys that work for me. I have one guy that's older than me that works for me, and he works up front, Jared, and he's 34. He's actually my cousin, and never in a million years I thought I would have him work for me, make good money at his other job, and like I said, it's an operation now, so he's great up front, man. Like, he does a lot of stuff for me. That's one thing I wanted to mention in this video is my employees. Like, I would not be where I am without these guys. They can't do enough. I mean, they just they take it to heart. So like, I got all my guys that work for me besides Fuzz. He just kind of rolled in off the street. Literally, dude, he didn't know anything, and I'm like, man, I don't know about this kid. Yeah, he can come in and sweep the floor. Like, he didn't come in and be a mechanic, but everyone else that works for me, they were recruited, if that makes sense. So like, I didn't put a ad on Facebook to get people to come here because like, when you do that, in my opinion, uh I've been down that road. So like, when you do that, people just want to come work here because it's a performance shop
Yeah, it's
and they
cool.
want to fuck off.
Right.
Yeah. So that's like not our mentality at all. Like, I don't think this shit's cool anymore. Like, like,
You're 28 and you're already
yeah.
there. My
Yeah.
God.
But like, I just want to do a good job and give people a quality, piece. Because, if you spend 10, 20,000, whatever it is, even 5,000, you need to make sure it's perfect, and you can't please everyone, but anyways, so I recruit, so like Alex, for example, the one with the SN,
Yep.
he has a truck, a
Yeah, a
C20.
long bed C something that went
See,
it,
yeah,
it over boosted
850.
and blew up or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. I think fucking pile shit.
It
So
was so
he,
cool to see it run though. I'm
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
that thing goes good.
yeah. So he's something, but like he was a customer and he never tuned. He just came in and I tuned it for him. And I'm like, man, whoever put this truck together, like you guys seen video, like if you watch the YouTube, like the truck looks like a piece of shit. It's
Yep.
really not actually an engine bay. It's actually really nicely done. The wiring was really nice. I'm like, who did this truck? Because it takes a lot to get me like, damn, that's nice. Like usually I think everything's a piece of shit. So I'm like, this thing's actually pretty nicely done. He's like, I did everything myself. I'm like, you did the turbo kit and all? He's like, yeah. I'm like, no kidding. So I just kept my eye on him, and long story short, I wound up hiring him. I asked him, I called him in the shop one day. I said, I do my background homework and make sure he's not a jackass,
Right.
so he works, long story short, he works here now. Fuzz, there's a new guy actually just hired Kyle. I've known him a long time. Really wasn't friends with him. I just knew him through people, but I had my eye on him. He just is a good mechanic. I mean, he actually worked at the Ford dealership. He's
Is he the
Coyote
guy that
guy.
threw that piece over to the scrapyard? Is he the guy in the video that
No,
threw that?
no, that's Cody. He actually worked at the Ford dealer too, um, before here. But Cody actually just quit on me.
Oh,
Yeah, it sucks because he was a great employee. I'm good with Cody still. He went to another shop, not a performance shop. He went to a regular mom and pop shop that, turned wrenches every day that he's in the middle of buying. So,
oh,
I get it, man. I was in those shoes one time too. So,
100%. Yeah.
I still talk to Cody. He just came out when that boy Dell with the white zeal on. He street races and he came out, with us and watched it. So I'm good with Cody. He's always welcome back and he's great. But you know, I recruited him. I recruited Kyle. I recruited Alex Carson. He's my full time welder. I recruited him. He started working on the side here and he, he's 21 years old, probably the best welder I've ever seen, dude. He is
Really?
insane. He drops dimes like crazy.
Oh
He
shit.
just went to high school. We call it Cat North around here, but he just went to the high school program for welding, and
Comes out of
he
there
just
a
he
welder.
comes out of there. He's just natural.
Yeah.
So so anyways, all the guys I got that work for me aren't goofballs. Yes, they're goofballs, but they're not.
But they know
They
their
don't
shit.
they
Right.
don't want to come to work because, yeah, man, I'm working on a C7Z. Let me get it all on Snapchat. Like they're not like that. And I run a tight ship, actually. We have meetings every Monday morning of what's got to leave that week. Um, if something's like, if you got to stay until 8 or 9 o'clock at night, which, sometimes, you got to do it, they'll do it, and they get paid, and these guys are just super loyal to me, man. But I'm loyal back. Like I take care of my guys. So, you
That's
know,
really rare nowadays, especially in the performance aspect of things. On the welding front, so let's talk about some of the manufacturing stuff and the necessity, not necessarily the option. You kind of didn't have an option, right? There's a couple of things that you
mhm.
started seeing that you said, I think the customer base needs this, or I can make a better product. What led you to start making your own products?
um, so a couple different things really that triggered me to do it. Before I hired Carson as a full time welder, I had no equipment, so we bought everything through a couple of different companies. Heat exchangers, ice tanks, whatever it might be. And uh, for one, when you everyone's got to make money as a business. I don't care who you are. Like you're in business to make money. So
Correct.
like when someone brings their car to my shop, I expect to make money off them. I'll be straight up tell you. You
Right.
got to. Like how the
Right.
fuck can I not do that? So
We're not boys. Like I need to
yeah,
make money off this.
yeah. So especially you want it really nice. You want everything just So anyways, um, I don't make any money on products from people I buy. So like I'm talking like 10%, like 10% is enough for me. Like it's got to be margins more like 15, 20, 30, which
Hmm.
there are companies out there that you can get that. So, but for just a little stuff like heat exchangers is a great example. We dealt with this one company and we gave them a pile load of money, like because we work on a pile load of supercharged cars. I was telling you on the phone the other day, like it's really all we work on. We
Right.
don't really work on NA stuff. I'll get to that in a minute, but
Good. I love that NA
um,
shit.
yeah,
Uh,
but so we had this heat exchanger that we bought from them, and um, it was for a C7Z, and on the C7Z heat exchanger, it's real, short, but it's long. Just the
okay.
way it winds up being in the bumper, you can't get a big one in there. Well, it's got 4 ports on it, so not two, it's got 4, and that's how the factory one is. So it's got a divider though. So I buy this heat exchanger, put it on, don't check nothing. I'm on the dyno, and I'm like, man, this son of a bitch is getting hot. And it had a trunk tank in it. I'm like, the IATs are fucking out of control. And I'm like, that's weird. So I'm like, you put your hand in the back where the ice tank is, the water's coming back cold. I'm like, the ice ain't melting. I'm like, there's no way, like something's going on here. But you
It's
put your hand
flowing,
on,
but it's not
yeah,
melting.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's weird. So long story short, I figure out that the heat exchanger, since it's got 4 ports, you go from the ice tank to the blower, or you can go to the heat exchanger first. I'm not getting any of that because if someone else is always fucking right. So,
Right. Right.
anyways, you got lines going to the one side of the heat exchanger, coming out the other side. Well, what happened was water's always going to find the least path of resistance. So he literally sent directions how to route this thing. I'm talking, I bought everything from him. So I'm talking the ice tank, the
The
heat
fittings.
exchanger, everything, dude.
Right.
So it's his system, right? So I'm like, he literally tells, I've talked to him on the phone like 3 times. I'm like, are you sure it's routed like this, bro? He's like, yeah. So we ran it from the ice tank to the heat top of one of the ports on top of the heat exchanger, out of the other side of the heat exchanger, the 2 top fittings, if you're following what I'm saying,
Yep.
to the blower,
Right.
out of the blower, back through the heat exchanger on the bottom side,
Right.
back to the that's how he said it was supposed to be ran. So, but the problem was there was no fucking divider in the heat exchanger, so it would come in the top and just come down in the bottom and go straight back to the fucking tank. It wouldn't even go into the blower. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Oh shit.
So, anyways, I sent it back to him, right? So, shit happens. I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And keep in mind, I'm paying my guy to take this bitch back apart. And let me tell you, I don't know if anyone's ever put a heat exchanger on a C7Z. It's not a 30-minute job.
Mm-mm.
So, take it off, send it back to him. He's like, yeah, I'll give you a whole new one. It's fixed, whatever. So, before I put it back in the car this time, I have Alex. he I said, put a hose to this thing. Put the we have a just like a regular hose. Put it in here and see where it comes out. I have a video, dude. Same shit.
Comes
I'm
out
like, are
bottom.
you fucking kidding me? I'm like,
So
I
was it
call him up.
routing or was it the core itself just routed fucked up?
So it depends on the situation. The way he told me to route it was what I did. And I verified this like 4 different fucking times. So what I wound up doing was just wiring the one hose off. So one hose ran to feed both of them and to come out and wire it back. And then you hit the blower and go back. So it had no chance of looping back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, anyways, I fixed that issue. Of course, let them know. And they kind of like just shrug your shoulders like,
Oh, good job, guys. Thanks for
I'm like,
fixing
have
it.
you
All
guys
right.
never had a fucking heat exchanger like sold one with your ice tank before? Because like I'm telling you, your directions, what they say and what we have ain't right. So anyways,
You'd
I'm
be
like,
surprised how many manufacturers have no idea how their product works. Like,
because they
have
don't
no idea.
fucking test, dude. That's the
Correct.
fucking problem. I bought
I
a fucking $120,000 hub dyno literally to test shit. I didn't buy it to read high numbers or read this or read that. I literally bought my hub to test because it's so accurate. You know, no wheel speed. If it's down on power, something else is going on. And I'll actually get to a situation in a minute where it's a good example of having a hub. But you know, and I'm like sitting this, and that was like during COVID time. You know, when this happened. When this happened, I'm like maybe right before. I don't know. It was you know 2 years, 3 years ago. And I'm like starting to realize like these guys are fucking idiots, you know, like so that goes by. We start buying their product for stuff because I don't have the funds or, you know, the people to make anything. So then we found you know, I made it a goal of mine to start making my own stuff. And there's some other product out there that's just one example. You know, there's probably about 5 different things I could, you know, go in stories about of the issues.
Yeah,
You
I've watched
know,
like all of your videos, and I can tell you're saying something without saying it. All you have to do is kind of show it and go, okay, this is a thing, and this is our thing,
yep.
and you know, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I get it because, you know, you don't want to go on a bash fest because it serves
Nah,
no purpose
nope.
for anybody. But it is nice to be able to kind of pick up on the nuances of the things you're going through with that situation. So
Mhm.
what were we going to talk about the hub dyno? Is it something about the numbers that the dyno puts out that people scrutinize, or what is it that you were going to talk about on the hub dyno stuff?
Yeah, so like, you know, the hub, for example, like let me tell you, like that's the best piece of equipment I've ever bought in my life. Not
We
because
finally got one. We at
did
Lug
you?
Racing, yeah, we got a hub
Okay.
dyno. We're like, oh my god, this thing changes the game. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so awesome.
Well, the cool thing about it is like um you got no wheel slip. So like, you know, if you're trying to gain like if you're trying to switch intake up, I was telling you on the phone earlier, like and like yeah, you can see your typical MAF signal on a dyno jet, but like if you got a 1300 horsepower car, uh you're spinning on a dyno jet. I
Yeah,
don't care who the
woo.
fuck you are, it's spinning. It might not be blowing the tires off, but it's definitely balling them up to enough to where I'm all about like combinations and different cams and different like we're not just like a typical like yeah, let's buy like a Texas Speed Stage 3 package and put it in this car because it sounds fucking cool. No, I'm about making power. I don't give a fuck about a chop. Like I want to make power to 8,000 RPM because no one can do it in LS. You know, I
Right,
feel like
right.
because everyone's
Just
idiots and they just, you know, spec a cam. People like if you, it's funny because these shops, yeah, I got this all special, you know, stage 3 cam from this guy, and I'm like, what fucking testing have they fucking done on anything? Like, I guarantee if you put them up to like a like what's the whole like it's not about duration and like yeah I got 220 230 duration. Well, you can have two cams like that, but the 200 numbers could be different. So
right.
like people don't even understand and comprehend how a cam even fucking works. They just put some numbers together and like yeah, you're gonna make more power than a stock cam if you put a fucking aftermarket cam in it.
Right.
So yeah, I guess you're a fucking hero. I don't
Right,
know,
right.
but like so you know what I'm getting at is the hub really, really helps at a high RPM because it's accurate, you know. So if it lays over, you know it's in the car, the combination somewhere. Um,
It's not because the tires are spinning the
yeah,
drum slower.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
gotcha. So when you see a
So,
dip, you go, that's not tire spin, that's actual power loss from
hmm
the combo.
hmm
Very cool.
so, you know, and you can see like the slightest bit of differences in power. For example, 10 horsepower, you're not ever going to feel it in your pants, but like you can see like, okay, we swapped something and it made 10 more, 10 less, or whatever it might be. Dynajet's gonna be or anything, not Dynajet, any roller dyno is gonna be hard to see that.
Right.
Um, you know, so uh we had a situation on the hub yesterday. On Greg's car. We were
Okay.
testing some stuff. I'm not really gonna go into because I know like a lot of testing we do, uh we don't advertise and we do a ton of testing for Kong. And we tested something on the hub yesterday for him, and we did something that cost 100 horsepower. 100. I didn't change a damn thing. I'm like, how the fuck did this thing lose 3 pounds of boost in 100 horsepower? And I put the hood on the car, and we didn't dyno with the hood on it before. So I took the hood back off,
There's the
gained 3 more
power.
pounds of fucking
Right.
boost. I'm like,
Right.
holy fuck, we figured something out on the dyno. I'm like, holy shit. So that's pretty much all I'm going to get to, how deep that conversation is going to be. But, you know, because if I get too far, that's the other thing in this industry, man. You start blabbing out too much info, then you give away stuff, and like
Yes.
people don't actually understand how something works, and they just take what I say. Not me, I'm just saying in general, like what you say, and they're going to do that because this is what you figured out. But like, it's just, you know, my success has really good work ethic and figuring stuff out on your own, how it works. You know, I've gone backwards in plenty of things before, like,
Right.
you know, slower or whatever it might be. And actually, I think we're going to put out a video. We just tested a Maggie 2650 lid on LT 4 combo, and it lost power. And you know, I'm going to explain why and stuff on the video. I think Steve's actually editing it right now. So,
Very good.
you know, I'm not afraid to put out there that, you know, we fucked up, or like, not fucked up, but like we
Didn't
lost
make
in some
power
areas.
or
Yeah.
right. Like
Yes.
we've experienced that with the cold air game. Like when we see a manufacturer testing the cold air with the hood open, I go, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you proving to anybody?" And then when the customer buys it, closes the hood, he's in the staging lanes, and the IATs are 140, not 80. And they're like, "How come my car went slower with the cold air, Alex? It must be the tune." I go, so now I have to explain to them that the hood under the the temperature under the hood is a lot hotter than when the manufacturer tested it with the hood open, blowing a fan into it. And Gail Banks, luckily, did a couple of videos talking some truth on that, and at least that. So do you come across, or is there a very common theme in the LS, LT, or just what you deal with, where there's a part that is basically fucking snake oil, and you don't have to name the part, but that everyone thinks it should make a difference, and then you go, no, man, that ain't gonna do shit. For us, it's throttle bodies on a stock manifold. That's like the biggest waste of money on a Coyote setup. If you have a stock manifold, why are you putting a 90 millimeter throttle body? The restrictions at the manifold. But do you have something similar in your world where you see people buy this snake oil part that you go, sorry to tell you, bro, it's not going to make anything for power?
I would say there's a ton of snake oil parts.
Okay.
But one that you just mentioned to me, I wouldn't say it's a snake oil part at all, but putting it on the wrong engine is, and I'd say that as a bigger blower, 2650.
Oh, okay.
So like if you have a stock LS9, like your ZR1, and you do heads cam to it, the stock blower is more than fine. You don't need a fucking 2650. You know, and people are like, it cools better. It cools better. I'm like, who is a tuner that says that? Because I really want to meet them, because let me tell you, like, yeah, you spin the blower slower, but from what I've ever seen, I'm probably giving away too much info, but
Right.
from what I've ever seen in blowers creating heat, is when it starts getting hot is when the motor can't take it. So
Right.
it becomes really inefficient heat, and it takes a lot of power to drive the blower, and it can't get it through the engine. And actually, the 2650 will create a fucking ton of heat going putting it on a stock bottom end car. And we found certain boost levels, anything past 22 pounds of boost on that style blower, stock blower, 2650, whatever, that Eaton rotor pack is going backwards. You want to keep the boost to 22, 18 to 22, from what I've ever seen. So, you know, you start getting up there in the boost numbers, I don't care what blower it is, it's getting hot. You know, it's just being inefficient.
In the Coyote world, we've had a situation where, let's say a Gen 1 Coyote, at 750, the rods just like to exit. So a 2.3 Roush blower is perfect, or a VMP. It just whips up fast and it's perfect. And I've always said it's the perfect size blower for a stock motor. But then people start saying, no, you need to put a 2650 in it with a 92 millimeter massive upper. And I go, well, you're going to lose out on the low end torque because you're not whipping the rotors as fast. And they go, no, you're not. And sure enough, when a 10 PSI 2650 versus a 10 PSI 2.3, I put my money on the 2.3 all the time because it's just going to whip up faster. And it's just happy and a good combo for that. So you're saying you would never recommend a 2650 unless the motor is built. I'm saying everything.
Really, it needs to be a 427 in the LS community.
Okay.
So like we got one cam to work with. So, you need some cubic inch behind it to scavenge the boost. And the 427 seems like a proper engine to really do it. I got two 2650 combinations out right now that we have plenty of them, but I'm talking about two specifically. One, we made 1400 to the tower with, and it literally backed. So everyone says, "Oh, yeah, hub dyno is really high." We go 480s at 3,400 pounds with that car. So whatever you want to call it, what it makes, I don't know, but it makes a good bit of power. So, and then there's another combo, Greg's car we just did, and that thing's stupid, dude. I mean, it's fast. So, we're getting ready to go to the track and put a number down.
What track? Like the drag? You're gonna drag race that car?
Yep. Yeah.
Are you gonna go at that power level? Or are you gonna bring it way the fuck down to kind of get him?
Go there on that power. I mean, we did. He made it nice. He made the car nice. We just put wheels and stuff on. I mean, like it's gonna be ready to go. Whatever. I mean, I hate stick shit. Doing that.
Hey, whoa! How dare you?
Hold on. At 1,350 wheel, I don't like it. If you want to build a race car motor, you need a turbo 400. If you want to go fast, you want to be the baddest motherfucker there is, Kong Performance.
Right.
You need to go sevens in that bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I tell him that all the time.
Is he willing to?
I think so. I talk to him every day almost. And I'm like, turbo 400 time, turbo 400 time.
So it still has a TR 6060.
Yeah,
like stock, or is it?
No, it's built, but it's the car revs to 8,000 no problem, and I think he's going to have problems shifting it.
Yep.
It's just, but I don't know.
He doesn't have a fuse, right? What's the fuse? There is no slipper style clutch. There is no bias ply tire. It's going to be a drag radial with a stick and cross your fingers.
Yeah, and it's going to be definitely a shit show, but.
He's gonna be like, "Hey man, pull power, man, pull power up until 7,000." You're like, "Dude, it makes 1,100 torque. The fuck do you want me to do?"
Yeah, literally. So, and that's what he wanted. He wanted to build a beast, and we built him a beast. And he said he pretty much gave me the rings and said, make it nice.
Whatever. No, it is. I worked with him for a very short period of time, and this was when he was asking about bridge ports, and he was doing stuff by hand, and it was really nice to see that growth, which is ridiculous because all of a sudden I see him teaming up with Edelbrock and doing all that stuff to get the 2650 stuff going. So at the end of the day, your shop, do you see yourself growing out of your current situation, or do you want to just try to keep it? Would you actually deny work to keep the quality?
I would deny work. I would, I'm done with adding. Dude, it's enough. I'm never home as it is. I work around the clock. And I'm so busy all the time, and it's just I don't know if I can handle more, man. Like I'm out of town. Like a lot of people customers, I don't even advertise this on YouTube, but I'm out of town like a lot with racing, like with race cars. So like PDRA, for example, and I'm sure you know what that was, NMRA, all that stuff. How all that is. So PDRA is for people that don't know, is very competitive 8th mile racing, and it's slick tire stuff. But I would say it's probably, in my opinion, just the step behind NHRA. It's just not televised. That's how serious it is there. And so I got a car I tuned that's PDRA Pro Nitrous, and spent 360s in the 8th at 205. Wow. So
a 600 cubic inch deal.
No, it's 950 inches.
Oh, so, sorry.
Yeah. So, and it's super tight, man. It's good racing, and they go to every PDRA race. And not only I have him, I have another radial car I do, a small block single turbo car that runs a local class called Warriors. It's like an LDR car. I think
Yeah,
this year.
Warriors, which is what they ends up being the Warriors versus Tres Cuarto in
Yes.
yes.
Yep.
Keith Ray,
So
didn't Keith Ray win the championship
he
last
went.
year? Yeah.
Yep. So he's. I mean, that class ain't no joke. I mean, that's a
No,
bottom
that
four
class
second
is like
class.
everyone is like
Yeah.
it's to me, I can't believe how tight the class is at the level of performance that class can put out, because I'm blown away with, like, to us Coyote stock is like awesome because the cars do wheelies and they're nose to nose all the way down the track. Then you see those guys and I'm like, they're just that at a better level, at a faster level. They're what, 4.0 to 3.9, 3.7 cars?
Yeah.
Or
Well, the fastest one in that class been like a O something. So they're not
okay.
quite in the threes yet. Someone will break that barrier. I hope it's us.
No, okay, cool.
But I don't know. But like it's a tight field, but the Warriors is more laid back, in my opinion, than like a real LDR race. So like you got, if you don't qualify in the A field in Warriors, you can go in the B field, which is like 440s, 450s. You
Okay.
always qualify. So it's like
You're
whatever. I
just at the
don't.
bottom of the
Yeah. Well,
right.
yeah. We don't qualify in that, but we're in the A class always, and we're competitive. But you just said being really competitive. I was just in Bradenton last week for a pro mod race.
That was
Um,
ridiculous. What a
World
ridiculous. Yeah,
World
I loved
Series
it.
of pro mod.
Yep.
Holy shit, dude! Talk about competitive. Let me
Mhm.
tell you something. Number one went. It is an invite only race.
Right.
Had 61 cars show up. 61 of the best pro mods in the world show up, and so number one qualified 362. Number 32 qualified a 68.
My God.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
those guys are like on their game, like super
dude,
tight teams, super badass vetted combos,
dude,
ridiculous
that's what
stuff.
I'm saying, man. Like the real pro mod, like PDRA racing, like any big old Tim Gamis chassis. Like I'm not talking your backyard racetrack shit. I'm talking real pro mod racing. Like it's the best racing I've ever seen. And it's like you just said, man. It's teams, dude. It's literally teams of people. It's just not televised. Actually, that race this weekend was televised. It's going to
Was
be
that
on
CBS, on some CBS Sports or something
CBS
like that?
Sports. Yeah, it wasn't live. It's going to be on. It's going to be on there on April 6th. So they filmed it down there. But Pro Mod's really getting to be huge now, and I really like that
Well, that's
stuff.
cool.
So yeah, the LS and LT streetcar stuff, and it's easy when it
Okay, to
comes
you,
compared to
you
that.
feel it's easy compared to
Mhm.
that stuff, but it's the most common setup, or basically platform that you deal with at your shop, right? LS,
Yeah.
LT, NA doesn't really come through, like naturally aspirated guys with their trumpet intakes. They don't come through and be like, "Yo, man, I gotta go gap a coyote." Do they
Yeah,
really show
they
up?
come in. They come in. But I would say we really don't do a lot of them, and I'll tell you one reason I think we don't do a lot of them is because our pricing, we're expensive,
They're cheap.
and they're
They're
cheap.
they're cheap.
Now don't get me wrong, we do some NA stuff that makes people have crazy budgets, and we'll put them in the engine dyno and make 900 horsepower, and
Jesus.
an NA, but I never advertise any of them. I probably should, because you got these LS guys. I mean,
They
it
love
seems like
that
it's
NA shit. They love that
well,
NA shit. It's like
well,
crack to them, bro.
I know. Well, you got the shops. It's the
Oh,
shops, dude. They think they are legends. I'm
they
like,
roll up there
dude,
like John Forrest, like, bro, I'm the
like,
street. I'm the
I'm
NA
like,
street kid.
right, yeah, I can go 990 bolt-ons in my tin can non-sunroof. They take the fucking sunroof out and put a piece of plastic over it to fucking go 990 in their bolt-on
We
car.
got
I'm
you
like,
beat. We got you beat. I got a guy that took his fenders, and bumper and hood off to run
it's
NA.
it's funny you say that. I use local to me because
Oh, he is.
I think it's the same because the boy that works for me, he was showing me a video. I'm like, gee, because he knows I'm like, he's like, my reaction is like, Jesus
Right.
Christ. He's like,
I see him in the laptop. He goes, they ain't seen nothing yet. And I'm like, you took the fenders off. You're racing a tin can down the shit.
I just don't understand. I don't get it, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, NA is cool stuff, but like, and we get them, but like we don't do them often. We don't do them often at all. And we're expensive. I'll be the first to tell you that, but like our stuff is very nice. So you're not coming out of here with some haggard duct tape looking shit on your car. We don't even actually, fun fact, we don't even use regular AN fittings like twist together. We have a crimp machine. Um, it's a Brown and Miller is the brand, and it's fire resistant hose. We run on every fuel system. And it's expensive, and like people don't even want to pay. It's like probably another 30% more than like a regular Vibrant 90,
Right.
but like that's what I use, and if you don't like it, then hit the road.
Bounce. Exactly.
So
So let me ask you then, at the end of the day, since that seems to be your bread and butter, which of those vehicles do you like the most? Are you a V3 guy? Are you a ZL1 guy? Like, which of those vehicles would you say this is what I want? I think you have one. Is that
I
green
have a
Camaro
zero.
yours?
Yeah, it's mine. Uh, so I don't know. I bounce on it daily.
I'm a V3
Uh,
guy. I look at a V3 chopping because I'm a chop homo because I'm not looking to go
mhm.
fast in a tank. I'm like, I want that. I want to
you know,
stunt with that
you
thing.
just made a very good comment, actually. Uh, So I would probably agree with you. Probably the V3. Now, performance-wise, the ZL1 just because it's a 10-speed and it's much lighter. You said you're not trying to go fast in a tank. 100% agree with you, man. I try to talk people out of making 1,200 horsepower all the fucking time.
Why?
I don't
Get a
understand
Fox
it.
body and go
I don't.
fast. What are you
I don't.
doing? You know?
I don't understand it, man. You got most people have car payments, so you got $1,000 a month car payment,
Yes.
and then you want to spend all this money to ruin your car. I'm like,
Yes.
it's not what you want to do. And then like I'll literally try to talk someone out of it. They'll do it anyways. And then like time goes by and like I hate it. I'm gonna sell it. I'm like, well, the writing was on the wall. Like
Right. So
that's
you
what I do
see,
for a living.
I'm sure you see that often. I'm sure you go all the way with the build, and then the guy races it once and goes, "I don't want it anymore. It's not. It's not. I can't drive this. I just screwed
Because
up."
you burn you burn a spark plug. I'm like, dude, do you realize 1,200 horsepower is straight maintenance? I
Yeah,
don't understand. Like, I
all
don't
the
care what
time.
platform it is. So it's just I don't care who you are. You are not building 1,200 horsepower car, and never. You're going to be changing plugs in it somewhat often, draining the catch can often. I mean, there's steps behind. You're going to be breaking stuff often, so you better have a pocket afterwards. You can't just spend the money initially. You better have a pocket after that, because these overdrive transmissions, 8 and 10 speeds and 6 speeds, they don't hold 1,200 horsepower forever. I don't care if they're built. They don't hold it forever. You still got to go through them.
My favorite
And
saying is 1,200 horsepower daily driver. I'm like, you are a fucking clown boy saying that
yeah,
dumb shit. Because,
and
like,
then
what do you think when
people,
people say that? When they say 1,200, I need a 1,300 horsepower daily driver. Can you build it? Alec
yeah,
Bledsoe.
uh,
Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd laugh at them.
yeah, exactly. Especially a blower car. It's like,
Oh,
I mean, you can't do that. So, I like making 800, 900. And for the most part, man, 800 horsepower, you can still have your stock motor, stock trans, and they live. There's a threshold on these things where, um, they start tearing stuff up. It's really anything over 900, in my
so
opinion.
where would you like to end up at the end of the day? I know that the builds can probably eventually be like a nice revenue source, but eventually would you like to merge the business to becoming like a parts manufacturing because you have welders on staff, you have tooling at the shop. Is that something that interests you, like making your own
Yep.
LMP? Do you go by LMP or is that like copyrighted by somebody else?
We go by LMP. Our
Okay.
website is lmpofmd.com. There is another late model performance, I guess,
Yes.
out there. This is an online store, I believe. I don't know
Yep.
them, but um, when I started my business, I didn't even know they existed. But long story short, yes, that's what I want to do, because what happens is, go back to the 1,200 horsepower situation. It don't even need to be 1,200. It could be whatever. If you do a nice build and you make 900, like it seems like you're always married to the car, and it's just hard to. It's hard to make money in this industry, man. It really is. And like when you're married to the thing, it's I don't mind servicing, and I don't mind, being married to the car, but like just because someone spends 20 or $30,000 with you doesn't mean you get a fucking 36-month warranty with it.
Exactly. That's
You
out
know
the
what I'm
window.
saying?
That is out
It's
the
like,
window.
so it's hard to make money with the cars. So um you know, and there's a lot of shops that are just they undercut themselves out there, in my opinion. And like, you know, I don't have anyone float me in the background of some rich guy that if this could be a losing situation. I feel like a lot of shops are like that. You know, they have a big
Sugar daddy
someone that
somewhere. Yep.
yeah, and like they can lose money every year. I can't lose money. Like if I got 40 hours in your car, you're getting billed for 40 hours.
Better be.
You know, because if I hired um, a plumber to come to my house and do a job, they're going to bill me whatever it's going to be. And I'm not going to question if I trust them, and it is what it is. You know, they're not going to cut themselves short. You know, it's just like the car industry. I feel like it's just shitty. You know, so it's hard to make money and compete with these other shops. And you know, I definitely say we're on the expensive side, but man, we do good work. Like I'm not just saying that, we just do really good work. I'm really proud of my guys and what they do, and they work hard for it. You know, so
The videos that I
um,
saw really made me and it's not because I saw what you made or the builds that you had and I was like, oh, I want to be a part of that. No, I was like, this guy's talking my language. He's talking normal, straight facts, telling you, hey, I'm not the cheapest, but we're probably one of the best out there. You show the data and you speak like a layman with the data. You know how these people try to sound you and I know tuning. It's not that difficult to explain it simply. If you try to go out of your way of saying, you know, delta instead of difference, I'm going to look at you weird. I'm going to go, can you
mhm,
just talk like a normal person? So
right.
no, that's what attracted me to that. But I also saw that I'm like, okay, this guy eventually is going to start making his own parts, or at least wants to make his own parts. So
Mhm.
do you ever see yourself doing that full time, or do you see like a part of your business still doing builds and you more concentrating on making
Mm,
stuff, parts?
no, I want to make parts full time eventually.
Okay.
And I haven't told many people that, but it's not a secret. Uh, you know, the GM stuff is only going to get you. You know, I wouldn't mind getting into like this is just parts making, not tuning, not building them, making GT500 cooling mods and making Hellcat cooling mods, but being the best at them. And like I would before like I made something and started selling it, like I would hit up London and be like, hey man, like uh you know, I made this. Can you guys test it for me? Like, and if it fucking sucks, throw it in a trash can, you know,
Right.
and I'm not gonna sell it, you know.
Cooling
But
mods for GT500 is it could probably fund your whole shit forever because these guys, if it's good, they'll buy it and they don't care about the price. I own a 14 GT500. The heat exchangers that are out there right now, and I'm not going to name names, they're trash. Okay. They're
mhm,
trash, and they barely keep the car. I get it. The blowers sometimes aren't the most efficient setups, but at the end of the day, cooling mod, there can't be enough cooling. And if you were to get into the Mustang and Hellcat side of things, I don't know about Hellcats because those guys are usually 25%
yeah,
interest
yeah.
rates and they're just smashing them into shit.
I
But
should say the TRX trucks mainly. I like the
yes,
TRX. Seems
those
like
guys
those
have
guys got
money.
money.
Those
Yeah,
guys have money. Absolutely.
yeah.
The Hellcat guys are at 25%. But I think that's a good idea. I saw what you did with the trick little ice tank in the front. Was that a Camaro? What was
Yes,
it?
dude. Let me tell you. Yeah, that's funny you say that. I was actually going to mention that here. Man, these things fly all. I cannot keep them in
It
stock.
it was so I saw it. I went, I wish we had that for Mustang. The fact
Yeah.
that the thing is big and you could just throw shit in there without having ice go all over the freaking place. I was
Yep.
like, just that alone, I was into it.
So literally, so that's like the best thing for them cars out there for the money. Between that and the heat exchanger, like we use a really good core heat exchanger. So our heat exchanger is expensive, but like the core is really nice quality. And there are some big brand cores out there that fucking blow. So,
Most.
yeah. So, you know, there's some big companies out there that sell intercoolers that suck. So, you know, we definitely do our homework and test, you know, and my uncle actually has a flow bench and we've tested so many intercoolers before.
You have access to a flow bench?
Oh yeah, dude. I've been
Oh,
flowing. I was porting my own heads when I was 17 years old for my Trans Am, flowing them. You know, so like this isn't nothing new. You know, yeah, I'm young, but like I've been doing it. I'm 28. You know, I've been doing it 11, 12 years.
would it blow
So
your mind if any company that deals with airflow doesn't have a flow bench? Like, would you buy a product from any person that deals with airflow that doesn't have a flow bench?
Absolutely not. You know, I don't.
Welcome to the Ford world, because we
That's
have
any world, you know.
Oh, really? Okay, because I don't know.
I feel like it is, you know. I just people whip it up, and it's like,
Looks good.
yeah, this
Here
is
you go,
cool.
buddy.
And let me tell you, I'm talking big companies that sell supercharged companies that sell intercoolers with their product that suck.
Stop it.
I'm not naming names, but I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
you know,
Look, I'm blown away by it, because when I say it, right? Okay, I'm an abrasive personality, and I understand that. But look, when you meet me in person, I'm like the nicest guy on the planet. It's entertainment, and I want to have some fun. But when I say I'm full of shit, when someone like you, a calm guy that has a business and is known as I want to say a leading person in that field, says the exact same thing, people go, well, the person delivering the message matters, and that's why I wanted to have you on, because I think we agree on a lot of the things that's happening out there, and I want to support what you got going on, because I think you guys are really talented and you're really good. Just that ice tank alone, the amount of thought it took, the amount of manufacturing, welding, everything, and then you got to repeat it over and over. People don't realize how much work that is to actually achieve that. Do you do all of that in house? All that tanks?
Everything's in house that we sell under our product. So like LMP product, everything's done in house. We just actually came out with a harness bar today for the CTSV V3, not the V2. I ain't. They're peasants. You know?
Whoa! Holy shit! Those guys, you're gonna get some hate, man. Holy shit!
Sure, probably. Not all of them are. But they're starting to get to be that
2,000-mile V2 is like, how dare you?
Dude, no, we just did a 4,000-mile V2. The guy's awesome.
The red one was beautiful. I mean, I was like, even the kid,
Dude,
Fuzz was like, why the fuck is he doing this?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Listen, he's 20 years old. Look at that engine bay. I mean, look how nice that engine bay is, dude.
I saw him rotting the wire, and I'm like, so I'm not that guy. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm ever gonna, I'm like, fuck this. I got like you. Imagine you're tuning, you're traveling, you're running a business, and then someone says, by the way, you got to squeeze tucking wire in your schedule. You're like, fuck that. Let someone else, let Fuzz do that shit.
Yeah.
Because you just don't have the time. Same thing with me. I just simply don't have the time to do that. But that car looks so freaking good that I was kind of blown away by the work. And that's what kind of led me to your channel. As I was like, let's support. Like, what did you think the next morning when all of a sudden you had like 500 more subscribers and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Well, I knew who you were before you even mentioned us. I remember like 5, 6, I don't know what it was, years ago when it was like the YOLO douchebag thing, and you and this guy, a local guy by me, Bobby Parks.
Bobby, oh my God, I forgot about that whole back and forth.
That shit was fucking so damn funny, man. Oh my God.
I had nothing going on, and he had a legit fast car, and I'm like, oh you want to talk some shit? Let's go. I think I'm good with that.
Dude, yeah, that was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. So I knew who you were from that whole deal, and then like, you know, just, and here we are, you know, but I was like, because like I didn't know what to expect, because I knew you were the shit talker, like a shit talking person.
right.
And I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, I hope we didn't get slandered somehow from you know, doing something. And you know, I really appreciate the shout out, you know. And we're not big on YouTube. Like, I'm not trying to get rich on YouTube. I just kind of explain how we do things.
But the content is good. And the thing is, it's not only good, the editing is good, the content, the information you're giving out, the camera shots, the data, you're talking legit racer stuff. You're talking about back half, front half, 330. Usually people go, I 60-footed 1.3 and the ET, and they don't give you the breakdown of the slip, and they don't give you any of that. And I'm like, okay, no, this guy's legit, because once you see a guy talking like that, okay, and then he gives information. I said, someone's got to notice, because there are clown-ass clowns out there getting loaded off of just straight bullshit. And I'm like, why are they getting notoriety? But people like you, which I'm sure you don't care for the YouTube stuff. You have your own shit going on. But at least, hey, look, here's a shout out. He's doing really good work, and just a little recognition I thought would go a long way.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And you brought a good point up. Like there's a lot to drag racing. Like, you don't build a 1,000 horsepower car, for example, and just go down the racetrack and like, I went like 9.0 and like, or whatever it might be, and like yes, the customer might not know it, and like I don't expect them to. But let me tell you, if you own a shop and you think you're a bad motherfucker, you better know how to fucking drag race. Like I don't understand, and especially with like there's a shop, man, and I'm not naming them, but
No
like
names, no names.
names, and but he does nothing but LT stuff, and I'll give him credit. He's been fast, like he's been fast with stuff, but like what is fast in today's age? So like at like
For
when
me, like
yeah, like
what's fast for you? Like streetcar. We're talking streetcar or race car.
no, I'm saying even a streetcar. So like I think like if you go ate anything you're doing, I mean like if you can drive the damn thing, cars and coffee in a 2 hour trip, like that's fast, like
Fuck
in
yeah,
my opinion.
absolutely.
You
Yeah,
know? But like when you have a NA6 gen gutted that you can't even drive to the pits and it goes 990, like but like you're the fastest bolt on because no one wants to do that besides about 3 people because
right,
no one's stupid enough to do that.
right.
So no, I don't and like anyways, this guy just I got the fastest, NA, and I got the fastest this, and I got I'm like, dude, there's such micro records, like no one gives a damn, you know. Like my car, my Xeon One should not be the fastest stock blower LT4 out there. It should, it's a Camaro. I think a Corvette should have it because they're a lot lighter. Yeah, they're 8 speed, but like if I had a Corvette, it'd be faster. I promise. Like, and you know, people just like they just don't understand drag racing. Like, it's all a measure to the 330. Like, it doesn't honestly, yeah, the 60 foot definitely matters too, but like it's a measure to the 330, really.
Mhm.
From and um there are multiple times where we will only run race cars to the 330 because you know what the backsplit is. So
Yes.
why beat the fucking thing up, And when you're making 2,500 horsepower in a small block, it needs rings every so often. It needs
Yep.
bearings every so often. It needs this, it needs that, and so I'm kind of rambling, but like what I'm
It's all
getting at
good.
with these streetcar guys, with these streetcar game, and like I kind of come from both worlds. So like you trick and the customer doesn't know any better. So like you can lie and trick people into so much bullshit, and it's like God dang man, like I probably
Yeah.
can't count
The
on
most
both.
the
God,
most difficult thing we come across, and I'm sure you do too. Let's say you tuned a guy NA, and he races his buddy, and he has unknown mods, and he goes, "I raced my buddy before your tune, and I would beat him by 1 car, and now I raced him 1 week later, and he beats me by 2 cars." Unbeknownst to him, the buddy gutted the fucking thing, put a 50 shot on the thing, and you don't know. And then that's what you're measured up against, the unknown, the vast unknown, and then it's your responsibility, or you suck because after you tuned it now it's slower. And I'm like,
hmm
did you ever think about what he's got going on? Like, what's he weigh? Is he a better
hmm
driver? And it's just like,
yep,
it's not up to the tuner all the time.
yep, 100%. It's just one piece of the puzzle. And you know, people like I said, the people that own these street cars shops, I should say, in the GM world at least, they just they'll go to track and they just don't, you can just tell they don't know what they're doing. Like I come from race car stuff, so like I'll have a headset. I'm the one that backs up that Pro Nitrous car. I have a headset on. I know how to back up someone properly. Like those cars don't put the front tires down till the 330 mark. So if you have some bitch crooked, like it's gonna hit the wall or the cone, like or it's a boarded path. And these guys, man, they try to line up cars from in front of the car. I'm like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I'm
I'm
always, I'm
like,
always, I'm always on the side, right? When John Lund backs up, he likes me backing him up, and I like a certain criteria.
mhm,
But I see the guy next to me doing this, and I
mhm,
literally see the car sideways. And then when they launch, the tires go, it's up in the air and it's sideways. And I'm just like,
yeah,
holy shit.
yep,
Like, thank God, because you can tell, and the cars are fast, but the team around the car is clown shit, because you can make pretty much at this point, you can have a Joe Schmo shop, bolt some stuff on that's vetted, and run a number. And you could
mhm,
do that in the Coyote world too. But when you get to the track, sometimes you can't put it together. Whether you
mhm.
know how many customers I've had not know how to do a burnout. and I just go, I'm done. I get out of the car,
Mhm.
like get out of the car, please.
Yeah.
But I can't do anything about
Yeah.
that. You know, that's
Well,
his car. All I did was tune it and give him some shift points, and now all of a sudden I own the fact that he can't do a burnout.
yeah, and I trust me, I get what you're saying. So like, you know, you said a good point. Like, he takes a team. Like, I have my guys like really disciplined when we go to the racetrack with my green car. Like, one guy does this, one guy does that, one guy does that, and I teach them how to do it properly. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that, like, you know how you win and go rounds in competition. And a lot of these streetcar guys don't even do that. They just go to track rentals and try to beat records.
Mhm.
It's a fucking fantasy world.
Yeah, they don't
You know what
race.
I'm
They
saying?
they they set
You know?
records and then they try to base their sales. Which okay, I'm kind of on the fence on that because if you don't care about racing, but you want to say I can give you an outcome. Okay, fine. Go to the test and tune and run your number, but don't say you race if you've never won anything. Like you've never won an event, you don't know what it takes to go round to round. Sometimes you got to swap a converter out, a trans out.
Oh my
You got
God,
a
yeah.
bunch of shit, and they
Yep.
don't even know how to do that.
Dude, we slide. I mean, shit. I mean, we'll slide pistons in if we have to in between rounds. You know, like,
Oh, and the Billy
yeah,
Badass
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
even in like a low 4 second car, like, you know, it's like 430. I mean, you still tear some shit up. And like, if we got spare parts, like, I mean, we were at Yellow Bullet last year in that Warriors car, and we got an exhaust valve. I'm like, rip the fucking head off right now. I said, we got a fucking spare exhaust valve. We lapped it in with the drill,
Oh,
and it
wow.
was good. You know, put it back on. It leaked 50% still. Went up there 437. You know, it's like we made it though. We kept going, and like that's what it takes. You know, racing, and a lot of people don't understand that. And like, yeah, you're gonna tear shit up, man. Like, you know, when you go 430 at 175 mile an hour in the eighth, like
Yeah.
it's gonna tear some shit
Serious.
up. You
It's
know.
serious stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So
So at the end of the day, do you have kind of like not necessarily a timeline, but do you have a mindset or like a catalog of what you'd like to offer? Obviously, you don't want to give away, or maybe you do, what you want to start offering in the future, but do you have in your mind, okay, the cooling mods are something you want, the ice tanks, the heat exchanger stuff? Would you ever get into anything else? Cold airs, dress up stuff, just specific stuff that you think your customers would want?
the cold air stuff. There's a lot of companies out there. Well, not a lot. There is at least one company that for the GM stuff, they do really good stuff. It's hard to beat it. It's hard to beat a plastic mold. You know, so if you're making it out of like a metal, you know, it's going to be hard to beat a plastic mold because you can kind of shape it how you need to and
Correct.
just be more efficient. So like if there's something mastered already, no, I'm not going after it. But like I have yet to see a nice parachute mount for a GM vehicle. So we're going to make parachute mounts. You know, we're
Interesting.
going to start on the my 6th gen Camaro. We'll start with that, you know, and go from there. But, you know, these guys have like parachute mounts out there and like, in my opinion, junk, you know, and I'm just like, you know, and my stuff will probably be more expensive than the next guys, but it's gonna be a lot nicer. It's gonna chrome out. I mean, everything's about to be nice. We just made a harness bar. Use like harness bars, like you can get a cheap harness bar for like $400, but like it's mild steel, MIG welded, Chinese Hymens,
Nice.
tractor tractor grade, you know, 5 bolts, and like so like everything I just did for this harness bar is TIG welded chromoly. Really nice Hymens, aircraft AN bolts with a proper shoulder, so you know it's not the threads aren't in the part where it can egg it out. You know, it's just nice stuff. So just the materials is $500 or $600 before powder. You know,
Right.
so it's
Right.
like it's gonna be more money, but it's nice. You know, and I'm all about nice. You know,
Very
so if you
good.
got $100,000 car, why
Don't
wouldn't you
cheap
want
out
one?
on bullshit
Right.
bars. Yeah, I get it. So let me ask you some stuff on my personal vehicle. Let's say you owned my car. Okay, what would you do to my car if you owned my car? Like what would
I
you
knew you
do?
were gonna ask me that. Man, I would probably do some full bolt-ons, and then maybe crack into the motor one day if you wanted to. But you can get full bolt-ons out of them things. You
Give
could
me
do it.
be specific on, yeah, full bolt on. Be specific on
Okay,
that.
so I would do injectors. I would do the Kong export, so ported blower and snout, or the Lingenfelter snout, poured. Everything's ported, not just the snout. I heard one of your videos you were talking about just maybe porting the snout. I'll port the whole blower, do an upper 2.4 on it, stock lower still.
Okay.
And the Kong intake, headers. I think you have headers, right?
I got headers in a 255 upper.
And is there 85 down there or no?
Oh my God, yeah, everywhere,
I
everywhere.
would
Every gas
definitely,
station has the 85.
yeah, I would put some IDs in it, put a auxiliary fuel kit on it to help it, and you'll probably make about 800.
2.4, ported everything, Kong, headers, injectors, E85, about 40 degrees at watt. And then, we can, okay. Yeah, that's what I've heard. And that's where I want to be. I don't want to be, 900. The cam to me would be simply for chop. Like I get it, it makes more power, but if it's more of an attitude thing, I don't think I want to crack into it. If it sounds like, I think it sounds good idling, just chilling there with it. It has like a Borla exhaust or whatever. It sounds great. Everyone loves it. At watt, it's stupid, but you could tell people are like, you got to get a 4-pound lower and you got to get, this and Frankenstein. I'm like, what do you think I want to do with this vehicle? I have a 1,200 horsepower GT500. If I want to do stupid shit, I'll do it with that. I'm not going to do it with this car. I don't want to ruin it per se.
If I owned another vehicle, if I didn't buy I pretty much just bought my ZM1 strictly for R&D. I'm not like a huge Camaro guy, honestly. But I like it. But if I had to, not have one of them things, if I had to, fuck off on the weekends with, it'd be a C60R1, and I would do exactly what I just told you. I wouldn't even put a cam in it.
That's kind of where I'm at, because a lot of people are trying to convince me to put a cam in it for the attitude, but I'm like, I just want an 800. If it runs high, let's say mid to low 560 to 130, or dip into the fours, I'm happy. I'm super. Yeah, that's all I really want. So out of all these vehicles that you've worked on, you think besides your current car, favorite car, let's say ideally, if you were to say bucket list cars, what would they be, or what would it be? You could choose 3, you could choose 1, it doesn't matter to me. Any vehicle, any platform.
Any vehicle, any platform. Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, the C60R1's hard to beat.
What is it about that specifically that makes it so desirable? Because when I wanted it, I said, this is King Daddy stick car, 3,200 pounds, 600 horse, shit, I'm in. But people say, no, that car is highly desirable to many people for other reasons that maybe I don't know. Maybe there's other reasons that you have.
Well, I don't give a shit about keeping it stock for value. You'll be the last one. I'll be the last one to be like, yeah, I want to keep it stock. My car, by the way, they only made 11 in that color with a sunroof automatic Z01.
Oh, and you're just out there.
I ruined it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Yeah. So actually, I want a Traxxas remote control Snap-on truck, a little Snap-on truck today off of the Snap-on thing.
Really?
And my Snap-on guy's like, this thing's probably worth big. I'm like, I'm gonna take it out in the fucking parking lot, and roll it over. Like, I don't give a shit about this thing. He's like, looked at me like, what?
Yeah. That's what they're for. But I get it.
Yeah,
I think he wants to it says Snap-on. I'm like, fuck this thing. Who cares?
Yeah. So, anyways, back to the C6ZR1. Like you said, you just made a couple good points, like 600 horsepower. 3,200 pounds. But like the thing about the C6ZR1, for one, I love the look of it. GM really did their homework. Even the stock wheels, like I wouldn't even change it. I love the stock wheels.
Yeah, I kept looking at them. I'm like, I'm just gonna throw drag radials in it and be done with it. Yeah.
Yeah. The carbon brake. I mean, everything about a C6ZR1 was it's really ahead of its time. They don't make them anymore, obviously. But I feel like still in today's standards, it's still ahead of its time. That's the best LS ever made. The blocks are a different material, titanium rods, forged cranks. I mean, everything about it, just whoever was in that department at GM really did their homework. And those things run, man. They run strong. Like you said, 60 to 130. Let me tell you, that is the king of all rear wheel drive cars. I can't talk. Besides like GTRs and shit, they are the kings 60 to 130, dude. Like those things fucking roll. The platform, they make so much bottom end torque. If you get them the hook, they 60 to 130 strong. You know,
I
they'll get
was
three.
watching videos with Greg with his friends going out in some highway, and it was crazy to see 3 of them lined up, and they just all fucking they hooked number one, and they were just gone. And I'm like, God damn it! One day, my God,
Yeah.
It was really crazy to see. But yeah, I guess that's the reason I wanted it. Basically, stick, light, and pretty robust. You know what blew me away about that car is the torque. Because I'm a Coyote guy, and at between 1 and 2,000, Coyotes don't do a goddamn thing. But this thing actually, you can pass people on the highway, just floor it, and it just keeps going. And I'm like, wow, because I drove it from Pennsylvania down here, so it was a very delightful trip. But no, so yeah, I just wanted to get you on real quick. We talked for an hour and a half, so I didn't
I know. I just figured I can keep going for a while.
Yeah, no, I get it. But look, I can always have you back because I want to introduce the audience to Alec Bledsoe of Late Model Performance. Where in Pennsylvania? I'm sorry, where in Baltimore, Maryland?
We're in Baltimore, actually, right over the line, right outside Pasadena, BWI Airport. I'm like 10 minutes away from there. I'm an hour and a half away from MIR. So
Very cool. No, yeah, I wanted my audience to just kind of, because once I heard you talk on the phone, I'm like, okay, this guy's fucking legit. I think the people would like to hear him. And I've always wanted a guy on the LSLT side of things that could be a go-to if there's news or products or anything that you want to support, because now I have it and then it's in my radar. So I wanted to just kind of get you on there and, get the people, knowing who you are to see if, they can support. And then if they have any questions, LSLT stuff, I guess you're the guy. And I'm sure, big block nitrous shit too. I'm sure we can talk all that stuff. Also.
Well, that's just kind of, I do the race car stuff for mainly people. Like that's very select because like you can only do so many of that as a one tuner. So yeah, it's hard. But yeah, we mainly do LT4 stuff anymore and LSA, LS9.
Okay.
CTSV, ZL1s, and the ZR1 stuff.
Very good. So how can they get a hold of you if the people need to get a hold of you? Is it a phone thing? Is it a website thing? What's the best way to get a hold of you if you want work done?
The phone, for sure, and, if we don't answer, sometimes I might, we might both be on the line or whatever. Email is really the best way because it gets traced. But yeah, we have a phone number and you can Google Late Model Performance. We're first ones that come up.
Gotcha.
And that and email and that's really it. Instagram, don't even hit me up. I don't even.
Fuck social media. Don't hit me up on social media at all.
I'm literally not even on there. I am, but like I'm not talking questions on there.
You know what I do? I make people pay me, and they actually pay me. I go, if you want to, they legit pay me. I go, if you want a question answered, you will get answered if you pay me. And wouldn't you know it, I get a Venmo for $20, and they're like, hey, what do you think about this setup? I'm like, here you go, no problem.
Yeah.
But if you don't pay me, I'm not answering because that takes time out of my day.
I totally get it. Totally get it. And I'm not always coming to the phone. It's mainly Jared anymore, but if he's on the line, I will pick up. I'm not like I don't run away from the phone, even though I want to sometimes. But,
right, exactly.
But yeah, just give us a call, and if we don't answer, we definitely call you back. So
cool, very good. I'm going to end the recording here, but I'll keep talking to you in a little bit. But I appreciate you coming on, brother. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Yep.